Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Fic Fiction, a magical bookish podcast for chaotic story goblins. For the first episode, we really just want to let you get to know us and a little bit about what we plan to do here, along with some fun and games, of course. We are your hosts, Crimson,
Molly,
and Ali. So we all originally met through TikTok when we all joined a separate book chat or book club, and soon we realised that we were aligned on the same types of books and genres that we read, as well as more fictional and general interests like fanfic. We also share a love of provoking each other into reading vastly unhinged novellas about sentient objects, so instead of keeping those thoughts to ourselves, we thought that we would make them into a podcast and share our opinions with all of you.
So from this pod you can expect conversations about your favourite and soon-to-be favourite romantasy and fantasy books, discussions on authors, as well as the latest book community drama, in the format of chatty, in-depth discussions where hilarity will definitely ensue and chaos is a given. So if you're a fan of books from authors like Sarah J. Maas, as well as Fourth Wing, Twilight, grab your favourite drink and prepare to meet your new bookish besties.
Hello to you both. How are you today?
Doing great.
I'm alive.
Good start. Well, that definitely helps. What I thought we would do first of all is have a quick discussion about each of us, because I'm aware that anyone who listens to this isn't going to know us. So I don't know, Crimson, if you would like to start on a little introduction about yourself.
Sure thing. I'm Crimson. I'm originally from Oklahoma, which is in the heart of the United States, for those who aren't familiar with U.S. geography. So y'all is an integral part of my vocabulary, which you will probably notice. But I've always wanted to experience new things, so a little more than a year ago, I took the plunge and chose adventure and moved across the pond to Paris, France with my husband and, of course, my very truest soulmate, a cat named Play. You can mostly find me on TikTok under Crimson Reads, where I document all my story goblin adventures, not just books, but obviously mostly books. And I also do a regular series called Blase Book Talk News, where I talk about all the drama in the bookish communities, but in the most blase way possible. I saw so many people screaming and yelling whenever there was drama, and I just wanted something different that presented the facts without engagement farming on people's tendency to get outraged. Now it's this great little community of really cool people who want to know what's happening without letting drama consume them. As far as reading taste, I will read almost anything under the sun, but obviously I lean more towards romance and romantasy. Some of my will buy, say less authors are definitely Sarah J. Maas, Katie Robert, and also Penelope Douglas on the contemporary side. But what about you, Ali? I think we need to intro you as well.
Yeah, definitely. So I am Ali, and you can find me in the YouTube space. So I chat a lot about the books that I'm reading, the books that I've read previously. I tried TikTok. I saw Crimson hashing it out over there, and I really wanted to give it a go. But I think I talk too much for YouTube. I'm not too sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I definitely talk too much. So longer videos on YouTube are definitely much better for me. I do also have Instagram and TikTok, and you can find me under the handle bookmarked by Ali pretty much everywhere. I don't think it differs platform to platform, which is good. But I am Irish, but I live in Scotland. I moved here 3 years ago, and I live with my fiance Alex. And other than books, I would say that I'm pretty obsessed with my cat, who I will probably speak about more than once on this podcast. The Great British Bake Off, whenever it's on during the autumn season, and also Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is a problematic one for me. If you guys don't want me to take over the podcast and talk for 35 minutes, probably don't mention Taylor Swift to me.
Look, I'm happy to talk about Taylor Swift for any length of time at any given moment. So
love it. Maybe we'll have a Taylor Swift podcast episode. I would love that.
Good idea.
I do have a degree in business, so that helps me with my real life job. But in my spare time, other than reading, I love to play games. So anything cozy like Hogwarts Legacy or Fae Farm, Stardew Valley. But I've been really into Genshin Impact again recently as well. When we're talking about books, though, I would say that 3 of my favorite authors would be Sarah J. Maas, Carissa Broadbent, and Danielle L. Jensen. But my favorite books do change all the time. Throne of Glass is up there, and it's always going to be one of my top 3. It's not the series, but just specifically that book itself. And I do also really like The Spell Shop, which is by, I think it's Sarah Durst. I may pronounce her last name wrong, but I read it recently and it skyrocketed to the top of my list. So love a cozy fantasy book as well. But what about you, Molly? You haven't gone yet.
I have not. So I'm Molly, obviously. I am most commonly found on Bookstagram as Cozy Scholar. Again, like Ali, that is my at everywhere. I'm originally from Cornwall, but I spent part of my childhood as an expat in California. So I was in America at the same time as Crimson. Bit of a connection there. Before moving home and finally settling in Bristol with my husband to pursue our degrees. Now I'm a PhD candidate and I escape reality whenever possible in the world of books, as well as music, cozy games, and obviously fan fiction, which I've been reading since way too younger age, probably about 11. Um, but in my day-to-day life, I strive to embrace all things cozy, to avoid responsibility and crippling anxiety with my bookish besties, Crimson and Ali, being the best enablers possible. So, yeah. Um, in terms of reading, I like to think that I have a varied reading taste, but really I gravitate towards all things romantasy, romance, fantasy, with like a sprinkling of smut in there as well. No plot, just vibes.
Just a sprinkle.
Just a sprinkle. Um, my favourite authors being Sarah J. Maas, Madeline Miller, Ali Hazelwood, Lauren Asher, the list goes on and on. But my favourite books of all time are Akamath, which is completely valid, obviously, Pride and Prejudice, and The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden.
I do really want to read that, The Bear and the Nightingale. You keep telling me to read it, and
You
I
need
haven't picked
to.
it up yet.
You need
It
to.
is on my
It's a
list, I
must read.
promise.
So, to ease us all into it after introducing each other, how about we have a little bit of a game? Play a bit of a game.
Let's do it.
Okay,
Let's do it.
sure.
So, how about Fuck, Marry, Kill, but British edition?
Love it.
You'd say Kiss, Marry, Kill, but you know it's just
We know
not
it.
good enough. We know
Kiss
we
is
know what it
not
means
with the
anyway.
level of spice. Yeah, it's not
No,
with the level of spice we need.
I think we've all been reading fan fiction way too long to pretend that it's just kissing.
exactly. It's not.
Yeah, 100%. I love it.
Okay, so shall I start, or would one of you like to go?
Oh, I think you should start.
I think you should start too. You
okay.
introduced the idea. You should begin.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so Fuck, Marry, Kill, Maeve from Throne of Glass, the Weaver from
No.
Akatar, and one of the Asteri from
Oh.
Crescent City.
Do I have guarantees that they won't kill me also?
No.
Um. Mm,
Right, I think I've got mine.
That was quick.
I think
Ali
I've
didn't
got
even have to
mine
think about
too.
it.
I think I've got mine too.
Okay.
Ali, you go first.
Okay. So, I'm gonna fuck the Astari, or one of the Astari, because they've been around so long and I feel like they know some things. And also I don't want to be tethered to them, like, after that. I'm going to marry Maeve because she just seems like a hot woman. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, she seems hot. I'm into that. And I'm going to kill the Weaver because she's really creepy.
She is really creepy. I think we're a little similar. So I'm going to kill the Asteri because he's probably eating my friend's souls. So like
Yeah, that's not a bonus.
but I will marry Maeve because I agree, like she was misguided, but ultimately she just wanted to be free and she does seem really hot and she'll make me forget that I kind of hate her. So it's fine. And then I guess that leaves me to fuck the Weaver, which is a weird time, but you never know. You could unlock some new things. Could be okay. Maybe she'll give you one of her like trinkets.
Yeah, like she's got so much crap in her house. Surely she's gonna be like, yeah, sure, go for it. Take whatever you want. That was a fun time.
Sh-
And there
Surely
has to
she's
be
gonna
some good
have some
toys in there.
objects. Yeah, I was just
Yes,
thinking that. Yeah,
exactly.
I
Exactly.
love that.
But what about you, Molly? Like, how would you do it?
So I would kill Regella because he gives American Psycho vibes. I would marry the Weaver. I don't know, just vibes. I mean,
Okay.
she's crazy, but there has to be more to her than that. And then I'd fuck Maeve. I mean, I'm down to smash, but long-term commitment with her is probably not on the cards.
I get the Weaver bit. I mean, the Weaver comes with a house, and in today's mortgage society, you
Right?
can't be picky about where you're living.
You gotta
Yeah,
think
she
about
like
property.
exactly. She's well situated. Like we said, she has lots of stuff. Like there's advantages there for sure.
And think there's no one else around. Like, you wouldn't have to engage with people very often, if at all. You could just
No
sit in the
neighbors.
cottage and read books. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as long as she gave you a little reading corner, it's totally fine.
She
Totally fine.
probably has like a load of books in her house with all of these trinkets too. You're probably not going to be
Exactly.
stuck for something.
There are also probably books that you cannot get anywhere else.
Right? Like
Really
limited
rare.
edition. Yeah.
Yeah,
Out of print.
that's
Sold.
what I'm thinking.
Done.
Agreed. Yeah, I kind of respect that choice. Okay, Crimson,
All
your
right.
turn.
I also went SJM themed, but a little different. Tamlin, Kale, and Adis.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Done.
Mm. Oh, that was quick.
Yeah. It didn't
Wow.
take much.
Okay, Molly, you go
No.
first then, because I'm still having a think.
I'd kill Tortellini, Tamlin, whatever how you want to call him. You just don't want to be dealing with that. I'd fuck Kale. I mean, he's not my favorite, but at the same time, he's not the worst. It could be worse, right? And then I'd
Yeah,
marry Adis, like 100% on board. No questions asked.
amazing.
Done, Your Honor. Thank
Hmm.
you.
I respect that. Yeah, I honestly feel like I would be probably in the same boat. I think I would kill Tamlin. He just annoys me as a man.
Yeah.
A man.
He just
Well,
annoys me as a creature that exists.
Exactly. He spends most of his time as the beast creature, especially after he's had his tantrum.
also the fiddle playing is kind of
Hmm.
a lot.
Ugh. I forgot about the fiddle. How did I always forget about the fiddle.
I don't
Well,
think I
because
like a man who fiddles.
at the time, the fiddle seems kind of okay, right? Because the fiddle's like not in the full context of who he is. To be a fiddle player that also has temper tantrums is a whole lot. Like,
It's not giving cohesive.
Adult.
Yeah.
it is not
Like,
giving
you
up.
could
No.
totally imagine him, like, throwing that fiddle and, like, throwing that fiddle and, like, full on, like, guitar bashing it on the floor during one of his rage tantrums.
It's like,
Yeah.
whenever, like, you always have that one ex-boyfriend whenever you're a teenager that plays guitar and he's like, yeah, I'm so cool and I write music about my problems and it's Hamlin and his fiddle.
Yeah. I also think there is a little tidbit here that people tend to miss about the fiddle, which is everybody is so quick to be upset at Reese for forcing Feyre to dance for him under the mountain. And, like, of course, there's the fairy wine and there's that whole thing. But Tamlin basically does the same thing. Like, he gives her fairy wine, and then as he's playing the video, he directs her, he tells her to dance. And, like, she really enjoys it and really wants to in that scenario. But, like, it's not way different. It's like actually a very similar like parallel that I think people kind of miss.
That
Yep.
is interesting, actually. I didn't think of that before.
So for me
And
though, I would not kill Tamlin. I would kill Kale because I hate that character with every fiber of it.
oh,
I can't stand him. I hate him so much. I had the hardest time reading Tower of Dawn. Like I just could not with it. I hate being in his head. So I would kill Kale. I would fuck Tamlin and marry Adis because I'm
I
obsessed
think
with
we're
Adis.
all in the vibe of marrying Adis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he can turn into a cute little cat. Like, it's
Right?
perfect.
That's the bonus. It's like if a man turns into a cat, you're for me.
And again,
Yeah.
he's got like good job prospects as
Yeah.
like a Prince of Hell, you know?
Yes, and the thing is, I can fuck Tamlin, and he's canonically good in bed, so like that's fine, and I never have to see him again because I'm just gonna live
True.
in hell with Adis, so it's okay. All
I
right, I think,
respect this decision.
yeah,
She said it with her whole chest as well, so you just gotta
She
respect that.
did. That
Like
was he's dying.
yeah, even like if
first chance I
you
get.
don't have like a strong hatred for Kale, at least like you gotta respect that. So
I think the only reason I would completely reread the Throne of Glass series would be to mark every time I'm in because sometimes people ask me about it and they're like, I don't understand. Like, I just loved him. And I'm like, I don't think you understand the depths of how much this character annoys me. And it's hard to point out all the times.
it's like I can give you receipts if I can.
So many receipts. Okay, so I think
Cool.
we're on to our last one then. Allie, what you got?
Okay, so and originally I was gonna go down the route of characters who kind of have vague redemptions at some point, or then I was gonna go down to Sarah J. Maas characters. I've just chosen at random now. So I've just chosen. I'm sorry, guys. So my first one, and this is interesting, and the reason I picked this character is because of Crimson is currently reading Fourth Wing, and Crimson
Okay.
is not that far
Oh,
through yet.
No, chapter 10.
So there's two characters from Fourth Wing. You will have met them both already.
Okay.
So we have Tamlin from Akatar.
Mhm.
We've got Dane
oh, for
from
fuck's
Fourth
sake!
Wing and Jack from Fourth Wing.
Jack Barlow, the guy.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay. What is Sophie's choice?
Can I just kill myself?
Ew.
Not
Yeah.
have to deal with any of it.
Okay, I think I have my answer.
Okay, go for it. I'm interested to hear yours at this point.
Okay. I think I don't have to kill Jack because I think he's going to get killed. That's what I think. That's my prediction. So,
So you're hoping that if you don't kill him, someone will kill him later.
he sucks so bad. Someone's going to kill him. It's going to be fine. I don't have to worry about it. So I think that means I'd fuck Jack Barlow because I can't live with him. That's not a possibility. And then I guess I'd marry Tamlin and kill Dane because every word Dane is kale for me right now. I'm really not liking it. So I think that's where I'm at. I mean,
Right,
Tamlin's
yeah.
way overbearing, but I think like, you know,
That's
I
interesting
could
because
take it.
I went down a different route. I said that I was going to kill Tamlin. Tamlin's never living in any scenario that you give him to me. He is not a surviving man. Between Dane and Jack, I think I said that I was going to fuck Jack and marry Dane because at least with Dane and with how far that you've got into the book, he's very protective. He's very like, I know everything for you. At least I would never be in any imminent danger. If I married Jack, I'm more likely to die myself, and it's all about self-preservation. I could kill Dane, but he couldn't kill me.
Do you assume in this scenario that that you are in Violet's position and Jack wants to kill you, or do you just assume he likes you?
Ooh, I mean, I
Because
assume that he's got a temper.
he is ruthless. So if he's into you, it might actually be better than Dane, who's trying to protect Violet right now in like really lame ways. Like
Jack would kill for you,
Yeah, he totally would.
but he could also kill you. I feel like
Okay,
if
now
Dane
you're
got
making him kinda
upset,
hot.
oh
It's
god,
like
Crimson's into him.
it's like a pick and mix of toxic men.
Yeah. Molly, what would you do?
Run off and join the Weaver. It's painful no matter what. I'd kill Jack because you can't change him no matter what. They're both so bad. They're
I'm
both
so
so
sorry,
bad.
guys.
See, you know, if I chose to marry Dane, at least it would only be like one lifetime if I was like mortal. So, it would be a shit life, but at least you get out of it eventually. But
That's what you're waiting for.
if you get the sweet embrace of death, um, if you chose Tamlin and you're immortal, you're stuck with him.
Yeah, but you could have an affair. It's fine.
You could leave him. You could marry
True.
him and then leave him.
True. Okay.
Yeah.
So, kill
Just
Jack.
reject that mating bond, girl. It's gonna be fine.
Fuck Dane. And then marry Tamlin, I guess.
I don't think there's going to be a mating bond to reject with per tampon.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just be like, I'll pull a ball and be like, Soz babe, you've not got the right parts.
I'm going to mate.
I have an off-topic question that we may need to cut if it makes things too long. But who do you guys think Tamlin's mate is?
Oh God.
See, I saw a good theory, or I've seen theories, but like, so some people think it's Elaine and that Lucian was just covering for him because, like, he's a fox, he's sly, he's sneaky. So it would kind of make sense, especially with, like, them saying at one point that Elaine, would survive better in the Spring Court and how the Night Court just washes her out. So I think that's, like, the strongest, option.
I don't think I can give my theory on the podcast. I can give it to you guys. So I'll cut this next bit out. Sorry to anyone who is listening. Actually, maybe I'll keep it in. So for this part, maybe skip for a bit. This is like heavily spoilered. So like if you don't want to read this part or listen to this part, that's fine. So obviously we've got the Crescent City crossover. I'm convinced it's going to be someone that we have or haven't met yet, but I think there's going to be, because surely there's going to be mating bonds that have never snapped into place because their mate is in the other like realm or whatever.
Because they're related. And because the
I would love,
all of it.
And Tamlin is one of the ones. Tamlin and I suppose Asriel's one of the other ones that we haven't got a mating bond snapped in place yet. Yeah. So I would love for one of them to be from the other universe.
Yeah, I think Asriel's is pretty clear, but I think with Tamlin that actually would make a lot of sense. I do think there's a chance that Elaine's bond with Lucian is real, but that she'll reject it because I don't think that's going to work out.
I also saw a theory that Tamlin's mate was Amarantha.
Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah. So
I don't really buy that.
Yeah. I don't know. It could, honestly though, it could just be that he never finds his mate.
For a man with a lot of problems, he sure does have a lot of choice.
Yeah, like too much choice, arguably. So maybe he just won't have a mate. He needs to work on himself.
Yeah, maybe he, it also could be that Elaine rejects her bond and then chooses Tamlin, and that their story is about choice and not about the mating bond.
Could you imagine the drama though with Elaine? Like, if she chose Tamlin, and then it would be like a double betrayal by Lucian.
It would be a good plot point.
Yeah, for sure.
It would make for good reading.
Yeah, especially she's so boring. She needs something to like.
Yeah.
I mean, it does make sense though with like the book of whenever Feyre's in the Spring Court, she's like, oh, Elaine would love it here. Like, Elaine would love this. Like, I can see Elaine thriving in this area. Interesting.
So we talked about who we are, though, and we also talked about hanging out on social media and how we met. But I think we should dig a little bit deeper into how we feel about books here. So I know a lot of people in online book communities are fairly new to reading, but I think the three of us have all been reading most of our lives. So I guess I'm wondering what our reading journeys have been like. So maybe, Molly, you'd like to start?
Yeah. I mean, are we talking, like, how long we've been reading for, or like also the books that we read as we were going, or?
I think I want to know like both. Like I want to know like when you started reading and why, but also like what are the books or series that have impacted you the most?
Yeah. So, as you said, we've all been reading like most of our lives, and I have been reading since I can remember, honestly, with like the first proper like series that I was really interested in being like the Rainbow Fairies books when I was like little.
Yes.
Oh, those were amazing, and you'd always like try and find the book that matched your name. That was part of the fun. So it was always like a fairy that had the same name as you. I think mine was a goldfish fairy, which was really lame, not gonna lie. Obviously, you know, Harry Potter when I was younger. And that kept going, and I feel like I probably didn't read as much from then until I turned about 11 or 12. And then it like really hit, and I haven't stopped reading since. So the books that really inspired me or like drove me into reading like hardcore, obviously Twilight, because it was around that age. The Percy Jackson series, like I ate those up. Like I read them. I read all the ones that were out in probably like 2 weeks. I was obsessed. And then from there until this, like now, I haven't stopped reading. I've always had a book in my hand. But yeah, I don't think I ever wasn't somebody that was reading. I think it's just gotten more out of hand the older I've gotten. So what about you, Ali?
Wow, yeah, that's a really kind of crazy question for me. I won't lie. There's a lot of lore here. Also, I love that you had a goldfish fairy because my fairy was a tennis fairy. How awful is that?
I really wanted to be one of those girls that had a really cool fairy, but I just wasn't.
It was so sad. Crimson, did you have the same sort of books where you were just before I go into sort of my introduction or whatever? But
I
did you
don't
have
know.
like these fairy books as well?
I don't know anything about these fairy books. I don't think I've ever heard of this. So maybe not, or maybe because I'm a little bit older than you guys, maybe it like missed me. I don't know.
Interesting.
So we need to find one for Crimson.
Yeah, we'll make
What
one
we're
up if
planning.
not.
That's our homework assignment for
Yeah.
this
Crimson,
episode.
the fanfic fairy. My reading journey, so I've been reading my whole life. So my mum and dad were, I mean, I wasn't like an iPad kid. Like I never had like a laptop or a phone until I started secondary school. That wasn't really a thing. I sound like I'm massively old, but I'm only 26. But that wasn't really a thing. I was like playing outside and pretending to be a horse in the street. Do you know what I mean? So
Yes.
that was, I was one of
Totally.
those kids, you know? So I suppose I started really, really getting into reading. I could always go to the library. The library where I grew up in the town I grew up is so cute. It's so little. And I used to go all the time with the sort of childminder that used to mind me when my mum was at work. And we used to take like school trips to the library because it was just around the corner. And secondary school, then sort of high school, we had a library in our school because, of course, the school that I went to had a library. And I started reading a lot more in there, and it just spiraled. It spiraled crazily at that point because I'd read most of the Harry Potter books in secondary school. I didn't read out the last couple, I think, until I left. And then I picked up, I remember it so vividly, but I cannot remember what this book is about. But it was a book called Under the Hawthorn Tree. I don't know if any of you guys have ever read it, but I'm pretty sure it's about like the famine or something. Like,
Okay.
bear with. Let me look it up. Hold on. Right. Okay. Yeah. So it's by Marita McKenna or Marita Conlon McKenna, and it's a Children of the Famine trilogy. I just remember this book so vividly, and I read all three of them.
I love it.
So anyway, yeah. So I read these books, and then I think at that point, then I picked up the Shadowhunters. So the Shadowhunters are like a big thing for me. I think I have all the current release books. I've met Cassandra Clare. I love all of her stuff. So that was a really big thing for a while, and it still is. Anytime she releases something new, I'll purchase that. But once it kind of came to uni, I was reading little bits on the side. I started a book Instagram in like 2013. It lasted 2 months. And I remember going to the library, getting 6 books from the library, taking it round the back of the library, standing on them, taking a photo of my feet, and then returning them.
Do it for the
I was gramming. I think it was 2013. It might have been 2014. I don't know. It was early on anyway.
Early days, yeah.
It was early days. So yeah, that was crazy to say the least. But yeah, I suppose once it got to lockdown, then I started going a little bit feral. I did read the Throne of Glass books as they were coming out.
Yeah.
The Sarah J. Maas Throne of Glass series, and I read the ACOTAR series as it was kind of being released as well. I can't even remember what years they were released in. I did start. I think the first few were definitely out when I picked them up because I remember binge reading them and then having to wait. But I was definitely, I want to say from what's after Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms,
Yeah.
and Tower of Dawn. Those
Yes.
ones definitely were.
Oh.
I think it was from Queen of Shadows was when I kind of, before it was released, just as it was being released is when I jumped into that fandom. Yeah, that was it's kind of snowballed from there. It's kind of a little bit crazy now. I have a lot of books on my bookshelf. But yeah, what about you, Crimson?
Yeah, also been reading my whole life. The first like series I remember reading, I was so little and I had these books that my parents had gotten me, these two different series. I cannot remember for the life of me what they're called now, but they were all about teaching you. One was all about teaching you about values, so like integrity and trust and like all these different moral values, and then the other one was about teaching you like how to take care of yourself, so like dressing appropriately for the weather and that you need to eat 3 meals a day and stuff like that. So like I distinctly
This is
remember
so
those.
cute.
It's so wholesome. I love it.
Molly and I had the tennis fairy and the goldfish fairy and the potato famine, and you had how to dress yourself for the snow.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cuter if my parents actually parented me as well, but like, it's fine. The books did a pretty good job, I think. So yeah, so there was that series, and then as a kid, like I was really adept like academically, but like English was always my favorite subject, so I loved classes where we could read, and so a lot of my books when I was a kid were like AR books and stuff like that. But Harry Potter was probably the first series that like truly just grabbed me. And I remember I was in third grade and one of my classmates asked for a Harry Potter book for her birthday. And so for whatever reason, my dad, who reads a lot of mystery thrillers, but had not really been the one like pushing reading on me at all, was like, okay, we'll get her all of them, which was the first three at the time, and then we'll also buy them for you. And then it turned out like I was immediately hooked. She could care less. And then I immediately became the kid who went to every midnight release. And just was totally obsessed. And as a teenager, I read a lot of like dystopian sci-fi stuff, but most of the stuff that's kind of like fallen into obscurity. Like there was a book, Feed, that is about having like microchips implanted into your brain in the world and stuff, and like the way that that like negatively ends up affecting society. So like a lot of stuff like that. And then became a huge fanfic nerd in like I want to say like 8th grade, and then that just stuck with me forever. Here we are, still shipping Hermione. And yeah, as an adult, Twilight was like when I was in college, and I was a big Twilight fan and a big Song of Ice and Fire fan. So I was definitely getting into more fantasy. And then like for a while, I was so busy that I didn't read that much, even though I still like definitely considered myself a reader. And then, but I would still read new stuff on occasion. And then lockdown happened, and that was the end of it. Like I found Book Talk, and here we are. And that's when I found Sarah J. Maas as well. So for sure for me, like I actually waited because it seemed so overhyped that I waited like a year after I started reading like Book Talk books to start ACOTAR. And then from like the very first, like the second half of the first book, because I struggled in the beginning, but the second half of the first book, I was stuck. Like I was never gonna not love this series.
That's crazy. Well, I have a question for both of you guys. What was your fanfic platform of choice? Like where were you?
Oh girl, I'm old. Fanfiction.net.
Yeah. Same.
Oh, that is an
Lemon.
old one.
Yeah.
Before the
Interesting.
purge, lemon and lime, 100%.
Yeah.
Yep. I've actually never read anything on Wattpad because it's like the wrong age for me. Like I don't know. Like by the time I found out Wattpad existed, I already had AO3, so like
Mm,
there was no point. Yeah.
yeah.
But I was also like I wasn't just a Harry Potter fanfic girly back in the day. I was also reading like band fics on live journals and stuff like that. So
For someone that like I used to read a lot of fanfics about like celebrities that I just didn't know of
wow.
at the time. Like I don't like I would like find out about these celebrities, or like they would be like, I don't know, like YouTube celebrities or just like popular content creators or singers, and I would just like read fanfics about them, but I wasn't really into them as a person.
So I was really into emo music, and there was this group of emo bands that were all always touring together and knew each other. And so I was reading a lot of Fall Out Boy MCR Academy is fanfic where they were all gay for each other. It was great.
Love it. Were you would you like to be one of the band members, or would you be like a self-insert girly?
Um, I don't think I ever read any self-insert actually. But
No.
I guess when it wasn't as much of a thing back then. Like it just really wasn't. We all just thought that Patrick Stump and Pete Wentz needed to declare their love for each other. Like that was my goal.
I,
I didn't need to be involved.
I definitely think self-insert was definitely more of a Wattpad like
Yeah.
thing rather
Yeah,
than a fanfic.net or AO3.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Or like Tumblr. Like I think Tumblr was kind of the origin of the YN.
Yeah.
And
Love
I
it.
wasn't a Tumblr girly, which is weird because I have all of the hallmarks of a Tumblr girly.
Right.
I just never.
No.
What about you
Interesting.
guys though? When did you start reading fanfic?
um. So
Must have been young.
it was. Yeah. I mean, this wasn't my first account, but the fan fiction account that I still have now has been active since 2011.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and that wasn't I don't think I started like saving fanfics and like having like a fanfiction account until then, but I definitely was reading fanfic before then. So I must have been what? Like 12, 13,
Yeah,
Wow.
I
12?
think that would have been 2003, 2004 for me. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen a lot.
I keep forgetting you're like slightly older than me, because I was like, wow,
Mhm.
it must have been about 2012-ish for me.
Yeah, so for me, when the Harry Potter books were coming out, I was actually usually the same age that Harry was in the book,
Yeah.
like as it came out. And so it was like fan fiction was especially like very intriguing because we were all trying to write the end of the books. Like a lot of the canon compliant fanfic was trying to like also theorize about what could happen.
Mm.
And so, and I, of course, totally self-inserted myself as Hermione everywhere
Yeah.
because I had dark hair and I was reading. So, like, I was like, yeah, this is me, of course. And yeah, so for me, like, it hit so perfect because I was like the exact same age as the characters.
Yeah. I mean, I have distinct memories of writing out my fanfics on like notebook paper in like 7th grade, like 6th, 7th
Oh
grade.
my
Like
god.
Yeah,
so clear.
been there.
Wow.
I remember doing it in like, I think Microsoft Word or like Notepad or something. Like,
Yeah.
I can remember the like how like ugly and slow the computer was, and like, yeah. At school, of course, the most appropriate place to do it.
Obviously.
Oh yeah, of course.
Also, I learned so many things from fanfic that probably
Yeah.
nobody thought I should learn at the time.
Like in between your accelerated reader like tests, just opening up your fanfic like current work.
Yeah, like I don't know what the fanfic was, but I distinctly remember like the first time I read like a male scene because I had no understanding before that of how gay men have sex.
Yeah.
And I knew after that.
We learned some things.
Yes. Highly educational.
Love it. We'll definitely do a full episode, I think, on fanfics at some point. I feel like that would be so interesting.
Yeah.
I think it is time for another game because I feel like that's a good way to get to know people is by playing games. So, what we have done is we have gotten all three of us to pick a book preferably that we've all read or one that's at least big enough to where we can guess. And we've got some 1-star reviews. This was like a big TikTok trend for a bit, looking at the 1-star Goodreads reviews of a book. And we're going to read a couple of them out and see if we can guess what the book is or just have a giggle about the 1-star reviews of some of our favorite books, because that would be hilarious, I think.
Let's do it.
So, I don't know who wants to start.
I can start.
Please do.
Go for it. Yeah, do it. Let's hear it.
So, because I have two options, so if we want, we can do the second one. So we're all done.
Yeah,
sure.
Okay. 1 stars on Goodreads. Not even the sex is good. Like, how do you take a Hades and Persephone story and turn it into an absolutely boring as fuck shit? I came into this book expecting that at least some Olive Garden level of fine dining. Instead, what I got was like if someone had scraped out the soggy food bits from the garbage disposal and plopped it on a plate with some leafy garnish on the side. This is bad. So bad. Good Lord, where to even start? And then they go on to list everything they hated in the book.
Right.
I don't think I've actually ever read any Hades and Persephone retelling books.
I have, but I also don't think it's like overtly Hades Persephone, if I'm correct. Is it Breaking Dawn?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
It's overtly Hades and Persephone. That's their names in the story.
Oh. Is Neon Gods a Hades and Persephone retelling?
It is.
Is that the one that you're thinking of?
Yep. Ding, ding, ding. Yep.
I haven't read that.
For some reason, I thought at least one of you had read it, and it's also right here.
I haven't read it. No.
I'm glad that you got there, even though you didn't know it. I will say I don't agree with this review at all. I think that it's a roaring good time of the book.
I was shocked. I'm gobsmacked. Like, really?
Yeah, it's a real intense review. Like I would say that the lore could use like more, like for sure. And there are pieces of it where like I wanted it to be a bit more intense, like a bit more fleshed out than it was. But it's a great time. The point of it is not the plot.
If you're going into a Katie Robert book and you're expecting plot, totally disappointed. But also not.
To be fair, I do think this was one of her first like really big hits. So
yeah.
Maybe people didn't know what they were going into. This was a review from 2022, though, and it had been out, I think, well before that.
Interesting. I've never read it. I've never read any of her books, actually, but I just know that's the only one that I can think of off the top of my head. So I have a couple. I've chosen one book, but I have chosen quite a few 1-star reviews that I thought were just hilarious. I was cackling earlier, like a little witch in the corner over a cauldron whenever I was reading these. So the first one is that someone has turned the book into a drinking game.
Right.
So this reads, how this works, you need to have the book and a drink, and you're going to drink. So you can drink, take a shot, or finish your drink. So drink every time you read the words, a shiver went down my spine, my knees buckled, in a heartbeat, male or female, or snarl or prowl. Take a shot every time a male character's overwhelming sexiness is mentioned, or the word claim is used in connection to sex, or the main female character uses a slur or blames her dad for being disabled. A bonus, finish your drink whenever the female main character is sexually harassed by a male character, but it's in a sexual way, so it's fine to her. Or she complains how ridiculous or hard something is when it's not.
And this is a 1-star review and not a 5-star review.
This is a 1-star review.
Because this sounds like the formula for success.
Excellent. Yeah.
We also have the funniest two are a fun fan fiction with a bunch of really hot dudes with really sexy ears. And the top one that I read on this book was Three annoying idiots bitch and moan like a group of yapping chihuahuas in a house for 350 pages, and in the end we learn that love is the answer. Gag me with a fucking fork. There is a quote that someone said. They're like, my favorite line from this book sums up my feeling, and it's, my bowels turned watery.
Okay,
It's
so
ACOTAR.
SJM.
Yeah.
ACOTAR.
It just sent me. The one about the chihuahuas was hilarious.
Is it ACOTAR itself, or is it like the series, or is it?
It's the book itself, yeah.
Okay.
I was like, someone's pulled that out. The context that that's in is hilarious right now.
The signature move is watery bells, of course.
My favourite is when the drinking bit is, I had to take all the names out to tell you guys the quotes, but it's Tamlin or Rhysand's overwhelmingly sexiness is mentioned.
Yeah. 100%.
Valid.
Yeah.
I mean, again, how is this a one-star read? These are all the things
Sounds
I like.
excellent.
It's just like a list of everything I liked about the books.
Exactly. I don't see anything wrong with that.
No.
Okay, Molly, what have you got for us?
An illiterate 19-year-old straight up kills a guy and is outraged when there are consequences. Her punishment is living in a mansion with a hot mayor and hanging out with his friend, the nicest guy in the world, and the only character I care about in this series. This is a tragic turn of events for Redacted, as it separates her from her life as an indentured servant to her shitty family. Who's going to take care of her deadbeat dad, her personality-proof younger sister, and Satan's apprentice? One day, a generically handsome man appears and all of BookTok developed a bat fetish overnight. Some stuff happens as Redacted ends up in a Triwizard tournament from hell where she has to outsmart a worm. Redacted struggles but eventually triumphs due to severe interference from outside sources. This goes on for 5 books. The fan base for this series is the size of a largish army, and if you say anything negative about the himbo, they'll hunt you down and ruin your life, and honestly, good for them. 3-star review.
You know what?
This has got to be ACOTAR as a series, right? Not a book.
Well, it's yeah.
I think, yeah.
The last part definitely, but it's ACOTAR.
I've actually read that one before, and it hits every time.
It's iconic.
It's the Triwizard tournament and
Yeah.
the worm part that
Yeah.
sent me. Can you read that bit again?
Some stuff happens as Feyre ends up in a Triwizard tournament from hell where she has to outsmart a worm. And it's even better because, like, I'm the only one, but when I read about the Midgardian worm, I imagined the Alaskan bullworm from SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I think
Yeah.
I might be the
have heard
only
that.
person on the planet who actually, like, imagined what it was supposed to be.
I think I pictured, like, you know, like when you see, like, I didn't picture like an actual worm, but I pictured like a worm-like thing. I don't know whether I'd seen it in some sort of like delve into your body, like television program or something, but it was like almost like what you'd see if they zoomed in real close to something, and then it just had this big hole with teeth at the front.
Yeah, so for me, I don't know why I knew this, but I knew that, like, worm has been used to speak about dragon-like creatures before that just, like, don't have wings.
Yeah.
So that's
With an
what I
E,
was...
usually, isn't it?
Yeah, or, well, with a Y, too. But yeah, sometimes with an E on the... Yeah. So I just thought it must be kind of like that, like, and really vicious. But I do think she did a really good job when we see them later, that I'm not going to say without spoilers, but when we see them later, she does a really good job of reiterating how terrifying it actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
And
she
what it
got
actually
the
looks
comparison, like, a few too many times, like, oh.
I need to display this to my readers a different way, so they stop imagining the SpongeBob worm.
Yeah.
Do we want to do my bonus review? Because I know that
I would like to do your bonus
I
review.
also have a bonus review.
Okay.
Oh, I
So,
love this. Clearly,
yeah.
I did not come prepared. I went full ham on the quotes and nothing else.
So the reason I did two is because this one doesn't give you any context to guess from, but I will give you the context that we have spoken about this book on on this episode. So
Okay.
it's been mentioned multiple
Okay.
times. Okay. Figured I'd read this series one last time before I turn 25 and my frontal lobe finally develops. That's it. That's the review.
That's it. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, but I thought it was hilarious that they were like, I'll be too mature to enjoy this now. So
Is it a finished series?
yes.
Right.
Children's series.
No.
Is it
It's YA. It's not children.
Is it Twilight?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking for Twilight ones, but like literally every single one of them gives so much detail that it's basically they all write like a dissertation on why Twilight sucks, which is like, babe, I think you enjoy it a little more than you think.
I came across somebody who was quite literally writing their dissertation on Twilight, so they were rereading the series.
I love
Vibe.
that.
Loved
I
it.
would do that. I would like a PhD
That sounds like
in
fun.
Twilight, please.
Love
Okay,
it.
Molly, you're about it.
Avatar the movie meets 50 Shades of Grey, 365 days, and Wattpad's 2016 fan fiction formula where your abusive grandmother sells you to One Direction to feed her crack cocaine addiction. Are you lost, baby girl? I want you sore, baby, all in one book, with everyone from the Avatar movie. That's it. That's my review. Don't bring this upon yourself. I promise it's not worth it. If you have a thing for alien smut, go for it, girly pop.
Have I read this?
No, probably not.
Okay. Because
You'll have heard about it. Like, I know you will have heard about it.
Is this the one that you were reading?
Perhaps.
About the aliens?
Perhaps.
About
I
aliens.
can't remember the name of that book, though.
Okay, so it's not Ice Planet Barbarians then?
It is.
It is.
It is.
that's
Ice
what
Planet
it was.
Barbarians. Yeah.
Love it.
Avatar the Blue People, not Avatar the Airbender. Probably should have
Right.
clarified.
I wasn't clear, to be honest. I was like, maybe it's Zodiac Academy. Like, yeah, nope.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love that you went from Avatar the Airbender to Zodiac Academy, by the way.
Just because magic. I just
The minor
get it.
connection.
Yeah.
Valid. Yeah.
You were like, this is giving the vibe, but there's no connections here.
100%.
Oh, I love it. Okay, well, we are very, very slowly running out of time. So I suppose we should move on to sort of the last segment of the podcast. And I thought that it would be good for all of us, I think it might have been Molly that had this idea initially, to talk about what we are currently reading, or what we last read, what we're currently reading, and what we're hoping to read next.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Okay, so as you both know, the last thing I read is a book called Moth Manager, which is a cryptid billionaire romance. So it's monster smut. It was a cozy.
Love it.
Yeah, it was a cozy good time. There was a lot of weird things happening. Don't go in if you're not okay with super weird spice. But I highly recommend it. Really had a good time. I'm currently reading Fourth Wing. I'm on chapter 10. It's slow going, but not because I'm not having fun. I'm having a blast. I love Daddy Zayden. I hate Dane. We're moving along. And next I'm probably reading Wolf Song, which is something gay werewolves. So I'm into it. Everyone tells me the series is really good though. So
That's all you need.
that's all I need.
That's all you
Love
need.
a gay werewolf.
Yeah.
Also, like, I have questions for anyone who goes into a book about Mothman with Mothman on the cover in like a romance, like Mills and Boone style, and then is disappointed that it's Mothman romance.
Yeah, he's not like a Mothman shifter. Like he
Mothman.
just is Mothman. So,
Love that.
You know, if you picked up this book, I hope you understand that you're getting into weird territory.
Well,
And you might finish Fourth Wing by New Year. So, fingers crossed.
perhaps.
I need to finish both these by New Year's because I need to prepare for Onyx Storm. So we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
Onyx Storm
You
is
do.
it's like the 15th. It's the 15th of January.
Have you seen
Well-
the Onyx Storm spoiler?
No.
Ali, you need to look at it. It's on Rebecca Yaro's Instagram. It's the blurb from Onyx Storm.
Oh yeah, I've seen
Crimson,
that.
you can't read it. You cannot
No,
look
I've
at
seen
it
that.
at
We
all
will
costs.
definitely talk about that separately.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So the thing is that I want more than a few days to like marinate after I finish Iron Flame, because I finished my Throne of Glass read like days before the third Crescent City book came out. And I think that if I had not just been in an SJM world, I would have been a lot less critical maybe of the book, because even though I gave it 4 stars, I was highly critical of Crescent City. So
I think that's valid though.
I was a wee bit like that with Iron Flame, to be fair. Like, I did not Throne of Glass, a Fourth Wing reread just before Iron Flame came out, and I feel like I didn't marinate enough in it. And then as soon as Iron Flame came out, I was like, what is this?
yeah,
But I
so
love it now.
ideally, I would love to finish Fourth Wing by the end of this month, and then give it a couple weeks, and then do Iron Flame, and then have a break. So
That's a good plan.
I like that idea. Yeah, I like that idea. I don't know, Molly, if you're going to join me for my reread.
May chance, yeah, we'll see. We'll see
That
what
could be
happens.
fun.
I mean,
If we can get through Belladonna first.
yeah. I mean, we do have a Throne of Glass reread on the plans for the beginning of the new year, so
We do.
we do. Yeah.
Fab. Okay, Molly, you're up next. What did
Yep.
you read last? What are you currently reading, and what's coming next?
So I finished Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerry Maniscalco as part of a book club read with Sarah's Book Nook. Give me about 14 more. So naturally, I immediately started reading Kingdom of the Cursed, which is what I'm reading at the moment, alongside Belladonna with Ali, and Tomb of the Sun King by Jacqueline Benson. And then my next reads are going to be most likely Kingdom of the Feared by Kerry Maniscalco and A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, because it is spooky season.
I really want to read that. That is on my list. I did go to Waterstones, and I was actually going to buy that one, and then the next one.
Yeah.
Because there's a second one, I think. But I didn't like the way the books felt. I think it was the paper. So I never bought them.
That's the worst, when you go to buy a book and then it has that cheap, like, shitty paper. It's like...
It might have been the text, to be fair. It might have just been the way that it was, like, fonted I didn't like. But I never bought that in the end.
And Ali, what about you?
So I just finished reading the fourth book it's a middle grade series. Love a middle grade series sometimes, but I just finished reading the fourth book in the Skander and the Unicorn series. So I can't remember exactly what it's called. It is behind me somewhere, I believe. Oh no, only the three. There's 3 behind me. We've got the Phantom Rider, the Chaos Trials, and the first one, but I can't remember. Is it the Skeleton Thief? I don't think so. I think it's something about the Skeleton Rider, maybe? I can't remember. But the fourth one in that series, it was really good. I think there's going to be 5 in total, because they're based on the elements in the book. It's about it's kind of giving Percy Jackson's vibes, where it's like about unicorn riders, and you go live on an island if you can hatch a unicorn and take part in like trials and things. And something bad happens, obviously. There's a villain, and it's about coming of age. And it's really cute, because we've just gotten to the point where it's similar in Percy Jackson, where they start having romantic feelings for the first time because they're really young. And it's like, wait, I think I want to hold her hand. It's really sweet. I'm also at the moment I'm reading Belladonna with Molly and Gothic Hannah, because I wanted something slightly dark academia spooky vibes for this time of the year. And I think next I really want to read this book. It's just behind me. Anyone who's not watching the video, I've just pointed behind me to my bookshelf. But it is The Dagger and the Flame. And it's just out, it's by Catherine Doyle. She was one of the authors for the Twin Crowns series, which I loved. So I'm hopefully going to read that. And then Fear of the Flames is coming. I ordered Fear of the Flames yesterday, so it's coming today. It should actually be here. My Amazon parcel might have arrived during this podcast.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is pretty much the first episode over. Hopefully we'll be a little bit more... we're pretty structured in this first episode, but I believe that we'll be structured and we'll have an actual episode on a specific topic, maybe. And I think we're going to read a book at some point, so maybe some of the episode will be about the book that we're all reading together as well. Someone did mention Twilight. I think Twilight's the first thing that we're gonna tackle.
Yeah. We are
Um,
filming a little early, so we have some time in the end of spooky season to get Twilight in. So
we do. We
So
definitely
excited.
do.
Mhm.
Okay, where, if anyone's looking for us, then Molly, where can everyone find you?
Instagram, TikTok. Yep, those are the profiles at Cozy Scholar. And then also our Instagram account and TikTok account of Fic and Fiction pod.
Fab. Crimson. Pod, yeah. The pod bit on the
The pod bit's
end.
important.
The best place is TikTok. I'm there the most under Crimson is Reading, but I do also have an Instagram as well as a Threads account. So you can find me there as well. Please come talk to me on Threads because my feed is just a cesspool. So more friends on there.
I have not downloaded Threads. I'll have to get on there and start chatting away.
I don't
Just
recommend it.
add some chaos.
Oh
to-
no.
I have it to look for blasé bookish drama is why because
Mm.
every time it happens, people go there as much as Twitter now. So
Interesting. Sounds like I would thrive in the chaos of Threads. Or cry,
Probably.
one of the two.
Or
Someone's
both
going
at
to
the
be
same
mean to me
time.
and I will sob. Yeah, definitely.
or get massively bored. I find it really boring a lot of the time, unfortunately. But maybe I just haven't found the right side of it yet. Maybe we can
Maybe
find it
we all
together.
need to hop on. Yeah, that'll be it. We'll go exploring the Threads realm together.
Comfort.
Fab. Okay. So
What about you,
for
Ali?
myself,
Yeah. What about
yeah.
you?
I was almost about to finish the pod and then just be like, nah, you can't find me. Bye. don't look for me. You can find me at Bookmarks by Ali on everywhere, really. Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. YouTube is the primary place to find me, especially if you want to hear me yap for a while. And the podcast, obviously, will have the YouTube and the Spotify, but you're probably listening on one of these anyway. So, but we'll link them all down below. And that's kind of it. Well, I'm gonna head off and get some dinner, I think. But thank you both.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Yeah.
I can't wait for the next one.
Can't wait.
Me neither. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.